North End. So I just wanted to kind of share something that the Lord had laid on my heart today. It actually was just some good reminders for myself. And so I just thought, hey, if I needed to hear this reminder, maybe you do too. I was just thinking and praying for different ones and praying for myself, talking to the Lord about, my tendency to grumble, which is just something that in my life I find myself struggling with sometimes. And I was having a little grumble moment and the Lord convicted me, actually through a childhood song my mom taught me, which was kind of funny. And also like I wasn't sure I wanted to be convicted in that moment. But the Lord just really kind of spoke some words of truth in my heart. And I was reminded that, the Bible talks so frequently that it's out of our heart is what's going to come out of our mouth. And just what starts out in here eventually is going to spill out into the public arena. And I was reminded of Matthew 15:18, where it says, you know what? I'm going to start in 16 because I just think it's a good thing to start in. And it says, "Are you still so dull?" Jesus asked them. "Don't you see that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and then out of the body? But things that come out of the mouth come from the heart, and these make man unclean. For out of the heart comes evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, slander. These are the things that make a man unclean, but eating with unwashed hands does not make him unclean." It's kind of ironic to be reading these verses. First off, I love how Jesus is just like on point. He's like, "Are you still so dull?" And honestly, like I felt like today as I confessed my sin of grumbling with the Lord, I felt like there was a little bit of, "Are you so dull still, Mary? Like, this is why you're struggling with grumbling. It's because there's more at root in your heart that doesn't need to be there." Just as I had that time of conversation with the Lord and was reminded of this verse, I was reminded that it does start out of our heart, and that I need to make sure that my heart is directed towards the Lord. Of course, it's ironic that the verses end about that, eating with unwashed hands does not make him unclean. In this season, it's kind of funny. I got a chuckle out of that as I was reading, because I thought, well, it might not make you unclean, but it still doesn't make you healthy. But really, at the whole thing, the Lord's saying, it's not just about what. We're not looking at just our actions, because our actions begin in our heart. And like I said, as I had this time with the Lord, I felt convicted to pray for my heart in areas that I needed to change, that things were coming out, even maybe not even fully out of my mouth, but they were coming into my thought process. So it was kind of progressing from, it was in my heart, and then it was getting in my head, and then it was going to start coming out of my mouth. And it wasn't Christ-likeness. And so I just prayed. I was like, "Lord, I want Christ-likeness to be in my heart. I want you to so fill me that you're in my heart, and then you're filling my thoughts and you're coming out of my mouth. Not this grumbling, complaining, yucky spirit that was just kind of taking over me this morning." And that's really my prayer for y'all, North End, is that our hearts become so filled with Christ that our thoughts are so filled with him. And then as we talk and live out our lives around our community, that's what's displayed. That what is displayed is that Christ has so saturated our heart, that's what our community sees. That's my prayer for my life, but that's also my prayer for my church's life.